My name is Mary Wangari Wamai, and I have been the Group Executive Director until today. And I've worked in equity for 20 years, since 2004. I started my journey in equity in a very interesting way because I came in as a legal services manager. And then as the bank grew, I got several promotions. I served as a secretary to the board. I served as a company secretary for several years. Actually, many people know me as the company secretary of equity. Even today, they've never known I changed my title. And then I became a director for strategy in 2007 and served in that capacity for another about 10 years until 2017, when the board decided to give me bigger responsibilities. In 2017, I took over responsibilities as the Group Executive Director, providing oversight to the group subsidiaries. By that time, equity had actually expanded into several countries in the region. Equity started in Kenya, but by that time had gone to Uganda, South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, and finally we also went to DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. So my role has been to oversee those subsidiaries on the leadership, especially on the leadership and governance side of things. And I must say that I have been very, very excited with the growth. In addition to the regional expansion, in the same period from 2008, we also expanded into other areas of business, like we started the bank assurance wing of the business. We also started the FinServe, that's the technology company. Then later on in 2010, we started the group foundation, that is the social impact arm of the business. And recently, 2021, we got a license to do full insurance services from the Insurance Regulatory Authority. So equity is now also doing insurance underwriting under the Equity Life, and Equity General license is on the way. So then I must say that it's been a very, very exciting 20 years for me.
So as you come to the end of this tenure, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Well, I would say the legacy is, I can look at it from very many sides or very many perspectives. The most exciting one is just to look at the sheer growth. When I came in 2004 as a full-time employee, I'm employee number 712. We were only 500 staff members when I joined Equity. Today, we have more than 13,000 staff members in the group, doing different things, serving customers in different ways, growing the business in different ways. So I would say from that perspective, it's been really massive growth. And in addition, Equity was a building society when I joined. The first job I did was to convert the building society to a commercial bank. That was the very first project I did in 2004. And as a result of that, that opened up Equity to a lot of business opportunities because customers were getting more products, more services that we could not offer with the limited license of our building society. And that gives me a lot of pride and sense of achievement. In addition, I can say that the growth in size, which I can look at it from a balance sheet perspective, when I joined, Equity was just about $30 million or 3 billion Kenya shillings at the rates at that time. But today, Equity just hit a balance sheet of 1.8 trillion Kenya shillings. So you can see the massive growth in terms of balance sheet size. but also profitability. The profitability has grown many times over, meaning that I have contributed substantially to value creation for all the stakeholders in the group, including the shareholders, our lending partners, and our other development partners, because we also have partners who support our social programs and all that. So when I look at it from that perspective also, I can say that it's a huge legacy. From my own perspective, I must say also that I have grown my career from, as I said, a mere legal services manager, because my background is legal. But now I have done strategy, I have done regional oversight, I would say, honed my skills as a business leader. I'm a governance expert because I've also been part of laying the foundation for very strong governance practices in Equity Group. And probably that would be the legacy that I'm also very proud about. Yeah, so that's really the legacy. I can also say that on the mentorship side, I have registered remarkable achievement. In 2020, I set up the mentorship program for the ladies in Equity, and subsequently also we got a mentorship program set up also for the men, and those programs are supposed to help us to grow our leadership skills, develop our confidence in our abilities to lead. So we do a lot of webinars, a lot of workshops, a lot of guest speakers, just to reinforce the confidence of our staff members in whatever they do, and to make them believe that they can also be leaders at whatever level they are. Leadership is not actually just about big titles. You could be a leader in whatever position you hold. What you need to do is to do whatever you are doing with passion, enthusiasm, and a very strong sense of ownership. So those would be my really my feelings of how the legacy I will leave behind, or I have left behind in Equity in my period of 20 years of service. Now, in addition to my executive capacity, from 2017, I joined the boards of the group, Equity Group Holdings, the investing arm of the business. And I also became a director, a board member of all the regional subsidiaries, the banking subsidiaries, and also the non-banking subsidiaries. So I must say that I've also gathered a lot of knowledge and expertise in terms of board membership, my effectiveness as a board member or as a director. And that has also helped me to improve my awareness of the corporate governance practices. And for me, it's been a great learning experience, especially on the governance side.
So what have you done over the years to constantly challenge yourself and grow?
Well, it's been a lot of learning, both formal and informal. The first thing that you need to know is that when I joined Equity, which is a banking and financial institution, I joined in as a legal person. And so it was very difficult for me to sort of fit in a financial services group with that capability only. So the first thing I had to do is to equip myself with knowledge of financial services. I made it my responsibility and I made it a major task to do financial education. I took a lot of interest. I had to learn how to interpret the financials of the group and others, because sometimes customers also give us financials to analyze. I needed to understand just in a glance, is this a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is this ratio a good thing or is it a bad thing? Are we doing well? So that was the first learning. But as we grew I also needed to increase my skills on strategy. I did a master's in leadership, innovation and change. I think that was around 2014. And that also helped me shape my thinking about the disruption that was happening in the market and the innovations that required to be done to be able to embrace the trends in the market, changing customer preferences, etc., etc. And I believe that helped me a lot. In addition, I also did a lot of leadership programs. I did the advanced management program with the ISA Business School. I did the leadership programs, Fast Forward. I did strategy in action. And finally, ultimately, I also did the Harvard Business School advanced management program. Actually, that was quite recently. And the aim was to actually grow my knowledge and understanding of the business, but more importantly also to understand what was happening in the world around us, because there's been a lot of change happening in the globe, in the people. The demographics are changing, technology has caused a lot of changes, massive changes, and I really needed to understand what does that mean for me as an executive, what does that mean for me as a director, and what does that mean for the business itself? What does it mean for the environment in which we operate? So for me, that learning has been very, very important. Recently, this year, I actually also did a program called Women in Leadership with the Oxford University Side Business School in the UK. And this was to help me to consolidate my thoughts on women in leadership. How can we help women to rise both in the workplace? How can we help them to be more successful both in the workplace, in life? How can we help them to deal with the topical issues that arise, especially when women become leaders or they're aspiring to be leaders? And I must say that that program also helped me to think in a more structured way about mentorship for women, especially, and also the skills that I require to be able to do that more effectively.
Okay, so what leadership qualities do you believe have been essential for your success?
The first one is a high sense of integrity. I truly believe that if we have a high sense of integrity in carrying out our roles, irrespective of which role it is, however high, however low it is, then we set a very good foundation for our careers and for our success. The other has been hard work. I truly believe that you really have to go the extra mile for you to rise above the average, because sometimes we are very comfortable. Our comfort zone is probably the average, just like everybody else. But me, I said, I'm not going to stay with the average pack. I am going to rise above average, and I will go to the 5% above average cohort. And I believe that is where I landed as a result of my focus. So it required a lot of focus. It required a lot of resilience. Resilience is important because in day-to-day, whether it's work or life, we encounter challenges. It's not always a smooth line. So we have to figure out how to overcome those difficult moments when difficult decisions have to be made. And I truly believe that resilience has helped me to be able to jump the bumps when I came across them, both in my personal life and also in my career progression. And I believe it was also truly important for me to also grow that skill and that value over time. I also believe that being led by a strong sense of purpose, when I joined Equity, and I said, because the purpose of Equity is transforming lives, it is a very, very energizing purpose. We are looking at empowerment. We are looking at teaching people how to see the opportunities that are surrounding them and doing something to make their lives better. And I said, for me, this is a very empowering purpose. It is a very energizing purpose. And I'm going to pour all my passion, I'm going to pour all my enthusiasm into that purpose. And I'm glad that I was able to identify that as a purpose. And I found that my personal purpose was perfectly aligned with the purpose of my organization, Equity. And I can probably say that that is one of the reasons why I have achieved what I have achieved, which in my own view has actually been beyond what I would ever have expected to achieve.
So what's the most unexpected or surprising thing you've learned about yourself as a business leader during your tenure?
I think I discovered that I had more strength and willpower than I would ever have imagined. If life was a smooth sailing ship, probably I would never have discovered that. But in the course of it, both at work, because I have done so many projects, and a lot of them were time-bound, a lot of them were very complex, right from the conversion of Equity. That one had actually to go back to even changing the law, lobbying for the regulator to change the law and make provisions for the path for conversion of Equity to a commercial bank. And then came the listing of Equity on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, which we did in 2006. And it was the very first time that anyone had ever proposed that listing could be done without doing an IPO. Even the regulator was asking, okay, so what do you mean? What is this now? And the fact that we were able to go through that successfully, we were able to convince the regulator, give us the approval, and we finally got the approval. For me, it was a test of what I was capable of doing, of course, with the support of the team. And then we started regional expansion. Within 4 years of starting the regional expansion, we did 4 countries in addition to Kenya. We did Uganda, we did South Sudan, we did Tanzania, and we did Rwanda within 4 years. It wasn't easy, but it just required focus. And when I look back, I'm actually quite surprised that we were actually able to achieve that within that time. But then again, it just points to, was there focus? Did we put all the efforts into what we were doing? So I think for me that was, when I look back, I think it was quite surprising, the strength and the power that I was able to amass to do all that.
So what's the most hilarious or embarrassing moment you've experienced as a business leader at Equity?
Well, the most hilarious was there's an old man who came to Equity Center a few years back, quite a few years back, and he said he was from Molo. Molo is in the Rift Valley. And he kept on saying, I want to see the group CEO of Equity. And he was being asked, okay, so do you have an appointment? And he would say, no, I don't have, but I want to see him. It's something I want to tell him. So I happened to be in the meeting when that was done, when he finally got an appointment and a chance to see our group CEO. And then he just said, I just came all the way from Molo to tell you one thing. Equity has changed lives. And it has changed lives in a very significant way. Through a loan that you gave me, I think it was 10,000 Kenya shillings. That's just about $100. I was able to buy a cow. And that cow, now I'm able to get milk. So I take the milk, and my wife also sells some milk in the village. So she makes some money. And you know what? Hey, my wife is so happy. She has even got younger. For me, that was something, I mean. And when I look back at that comment by that old man who came all the way and waited at the reception just to say those words. My wife is looking younger because of what you guys are doing. And for me, that was almost like a stamp of endorsement of the impact that the bank has had on very simple lives. That man is not a sophisticated customer. He's a farmer from Molo, but he will talk about equity for the rest of his life.
If you could give your younger self one piece of business advice, what would it be?
My younger self, I would probably tell myself that opportunities are there. All you need to do is look for them and open your eyes to see the opportunities. And the thing is, sometimes opportunities, they come clothed like hard work. So a lot of us avoid them because it is hard work. They are looking like hard work, and probably they are hard work. So a lot of us miss them or we avoid them. But I would tell my younger self, always look out for the opportunities. They may come clothed like hard work, but also you must be prepared to take advantage of the opportunities when they come. Because I always say, now I know better, that luck is opportunity finding you well prepared to take advantage of that situation for your own benefit.
What's your favorite book and how has it influenced your leadership style or mindsets?
Of course, The Village Girl. This is my favorite book right now. But my other favorite book, which I read a few years back and really changed the way I think about many things, is The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. I follow Robin Sharma because I love his leadership philosophy. So in this book, The Leader Who Had No Title, he actually tells us that a leadership is not dependent on your level or your title. That's why it's called The Leader Who Had No Title. It is more about the passion that you demonstrate in whatever area that you are working. And he says, do whatever you are doing with so much passion that everybody is going to notice what you are doing. And he gives quite a number of examples of ordinary people, including a toilet cleaner, a chef in a kitchen in a normal restaurant, low wage worker, but says these people have demonstrated their passion and their love for what they do. And he also tells us, do whatever you are doing with the same passion. Like some of those big and very famous painters, some of who became famous posthumously, because in life, nobody appreciated what they were doing. But much later, I mean, these days, we also talk about people like Edison, the one who invented the bulb. We talk about the Knight brothers, the ones who invented the aeroplane that we so love now, and that is so, it takes us wherever we want to go within record time. So he talks about that, and he says it is only because of the passion they had. We talk about the founder of KFC, the fast food company, which is now globally recognized and is everywhere. We have it in several, even in Africa now, much as it was started in the US. And he says it requires you to have that spirit of not giving up. And actually he says that if we fail in whatever we are doing, we should not give up. In fact, what we should say in celebration is, well, I've just learned one more way that will not work, that doesn't work, and then try one more, and you never know which one will work. So I love the principles that Robin Sharma has propagated in this book. And then later on, he also wrote the 5 a.m. Club, which I also love. 5 a.m. Club is about the discipline of organizing your time in a way that you are able to accomplish more in a day. So one of the things he says is, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm sure some people will not agree. It looks like a punishment for some people. Well, I do that. Take a cold shower. I'm not sure 5 a.m. has many followers. And then the first thing you do when you wake up, don't even look at your phone. First of all, go do your reflection, do your exercises, mental, physical health and well-being, reflections, meditation, and then now you can start your serious day. And then I also love Brian Tracy, because he has written a small, nice book called Eat the Frog. Now, eat the frog is not what you're thinking. He says that if you are to eat the frog, eat the most ugly and the biggest one first. But what he's saying in essence is accomplish the biggest and the most difficult task of the day first and get it out of the way. It's because once you get it out of the way, then you have the opportunity now to do everything else. There's nothing bugging you and bugging your mind like this, an outstanding, serious thing that I'm not sure how I will do this. So that's the principle. And then he also says, stop procrastination, because it's the enemy for progress. It's the enemy for action. So you'll have all these beautiful plans, and I keep on saying, oh, yeah, I'll do this. I will do this. But when are you going to do it? Just start. Start it. So those are my favorite books, and when I do mentorship, I refer to them, and especially for the younger generation who are still trying to figure out how do I become successful? What should I do? Because I get asked that question every day. How did you get to your level from the village to where? So those are some of the books that I have read that I feel are completely applicable. And then the other one I love is Make Your Bed. Make Your Bed is also a 10-point book just on how to become more effective and more successful in life, including taking calculated risks, managing your relationships, not quitting, etc., etc. They are just about 10 lessons. So, but there are many books, and each of them comes from a different perspective. Currently, with my girls in the bank, until today, we've been reading Atomic Habits. This is also about how tiny little changes done every day can result in very remarkable results and dramatic change in the way we do things. So this is the current book that is on my table. I want to read it. It's a big book, but I'll find time and pick the lessons and see how I can apply them every day.
So as we wrap up, give you a cutting shot and then give 1 or 2 pieces of advice to any aspiring business leaders in Kenya or anywhere.
Yeah, all I would say is it is important for us to, first of all, understand the environment around us as businesses. And I think my last 20 years in equity, equity has been a demonstration of that. The fact that equity was able to look at how the banking landscape was several years ago and innovate around that, and then became very successful. The second one is, of course, about figuring out who your customer is and how to keep them happy. We always say that if the customer loves you, nobody can hurt you, because the customer makes the decision anyway. So we need to figure out how to make the customer love us 100%. The third lesson is, of course, looking at and looking after the interests of all the stakeholders in our businesses. The final shot would be all the businesses should be looking beyond their borders. Sometimes we have a tendency of just what we are used to. So if your business started in Kenya or in Uganda or in Rwanda, you have not thought about what lies beyond your borders. You are just looking at the same customer that you have seen since you started your business. This is the time for us to think about what are the opportunities that are being presented with the region coming together, the East African community. We now have the Free Trade Continental Treaty that is also improving the relationships between the countries and opening up trade, movement of people within the region. That's a big opportunity for us. This infrastructure now being either done or considered in the plan, opening up again markets that were not available to us. Think about the population. I mean, Kenya alone is 55. If you are a Kenyan business, if you consider the region, you're already talking about over 400 million people. That's an additional market for you and your business and your products and services. So I think we just need to look yonder. Let's not be restricted to the geographical space anymore, because I think borders are collapsing now, and we should see the opportunities that come with that.
So, are you okay with telling us what's next for you now after resigning? Is that something you're okay with?
Okay, I think I'll take my time and think about my next phase. There's only one thing that I know I want to do more of, and I will do more of, and that is mentorship, because I believe I have amassed a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in my course of 20 years in equity. I had done another 13 in private practice. So that makes it about, I was admitted as a lawyer straight from college in 1991. So that's a whole 33 to 34 years of experience. I definitely want to share that knowledge with others in one form or another, because I've also realized that there's a lot of need for mentorship and role modeling, and I will do what I can to support in that agenda.